Hello and good evening, dear viewers. Welcome to English News Bulletin here on Rwanda Television. I believe you had a good day and a productive one. Let's kick off today's edition with the headlines. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning and the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda have announced that the country's gross domestic product has increased, representing an economic growth of 7.8% in the second quarter. The Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority announced that electricity tariffs have been revised with the new rates set to take effect October 1st. And on the international scene, online motorcycle, taxi and delivery drivers have protested outside Indonesia's parliament in Jakarta for greater job protection. My name is Olive Nete, and it's always a pleasure to have you on board. Now let's kick off today's edition. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning and the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda have announced that the country's gross domestic product has reached 5,798 billion Rwandan francs in the second quarter of 2025, up from 5,255 billion Rwandan francs recorded in the first quarter, representing an economic growth of 7.8% in the second quarter compared to 6.5% in the first quarter. William Evans kicks us off tonight.
By the time of the announcement of the GDP for quarter two, the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda reported that it had concluded the rebasing of the GDP. According to the Director General of National Statistics, Ivan Mrenzi, this exercise was supposed to be conducted in 2020 but could not be carried out due to COVID-19. He says they however remain in the recommended time frame internationally.
It's still within the recommended time internationally. What's actually recommended is any period between 5 to 10 years. Countries do rebasing. So rebasing is the adjustment of the reference year. Why we do it, as I said, is because there are always changes in the structure and the relevance of different activities in the economy. And I wanted to give a few examples for us to understand. If you think of industry, there are different new industries that come on board over the years into different activities. So new activities. But also if you think of construction, we have realized that over the last 7 years there have been quite major things happening, major projects in civil engineering, but also in non-residential, including residential. And the value of housing has gone high. The value of land in Rwanda in the last 7 years has gone high. So we need to reflect the changes in prices of things.
Based on the current market prices, in quarter 2 of 2025, Rwanda's GDP was therefore estimated at 5,798 billion Rwandan francs, with services contributing 50% to the GDP. Agriculture contributed 23%, while industries contributed only 21%, and net direct taxes accounted for 5%. In agriculture, particularly coffee production, saw a 121% increase in production and a 42% export of crop production, accounting for an 8% growth in the sector.
For agriculture, as we mentioned, the growth of 8%. If you look at the numbers, it's mainly driven by the export crops, which had a growth of 42% in that quarter. And as we broke it down, coffee had a big contribution. But if you look at food crops, the growth was minimal, was 3%. So the overall 8%, there's a significant contribution by export crops that leads to that.
To boost productivity, the Minister of Finance revealed that reviews are being conducted to especially facilitate 24-hour production by industries.
How we can boost productivity, especially industry. In some countries, industries work 24 hours. Actually, they benefit for better electricity rates of off-peak, complete off-peak period. So we are reviewing all these things to see how we can chart a way forward to facilitate these aspects.
As Rwanda's economy grows at 7.8% in the second quarter, officials say the rebased GDP figures will guide future planning. The focus now turns to sustaining this growth across key sectors in the months ahead. William Evans, RwandaTV News.
Moving ahead, a public notice issued by the Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority informs all Rwandans that electricity tariffs have been revised with the new rates set to take effect starting October 1st. RURA explains that the revision aims to align electricity costs with current market conditions and ensure sufficient supply to meet the growing demand for power. The last electricity tariff adjustment took place in 2020. According to the Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority, the latest changes were made in response to various economic tariffs and economic shifts and the current energy production landscape, with the goal of helping Rwanda achieve greater self-sufficiency in electricity generation. The notice also states that to promote household electricity use, expand basic access and move toward universal coverage, the first category of household consumption has been increased from 15 Rwandan francs per kilowatt to 20 Rwandan francs, while the standard rate for other categories remains unchanged. Additionally, to support institutions that provide essential social services and to strengthen their capacity, schools, hospitals and health centers have been granted a special subsidized tariff to facilitate their operations. Moving ahead, Rwanda's national cycling team, Team Rwanda, has promised to make the nation proud by writing history at the upcoming UCI Road World Championships, which will be hosted in Rwanda for the very first time and also mark the debut of the event on the African continent. Adam Squizera reports.
Every training day for Team Rwanda begins at 9 a.m. Shortly after breakfast, when riders receive their daily briefing from the coaching staff before embarking on a long and demanding practice sessions. After reviewing the training schedule, the cyclists carefully check their bikes before setting off on endurance rides, such as Bugesera, Kibugabuga, and Nyanza route, which often last more than 5 hours. Out of more than 30 riders who have been in intensive training camp, only 23 cyclists have been selected to represent Rwanda across different categories. 6 male and 4 female riders will compete in the road race, while 2 elite men and 2 women will take part in individual time trial. In addition, 4 under 23 riders of each gender and 2 junior in both men and women categories will represent the country. The cyclists say that they are fully prepared and motivated to face some of the world's high-figure cyclists. We trained for more than 6 hours, and now our bodies are fully adapted to long-distance practice, and I promise I won't disappoint you all. Following months of intensive trainings in Musanze, the team also traveled to France for further preparation and are now in their final training camp in Bugesera. Assistant coach Sempoma Felix says the team is ready and confident, noting that the World Championships present a chance for Rwanda to make history on the global cycling stage. Now that we are in Rwanda, in front of Rwandans, our fans, we feel truly motivated. Of course, World Championships are always tense competitions, but what I can promise Rwandans is that our cyclists are well trained and highly motivated. We'll do our best to make this year historic, not only because Rwanda is hosting this event, but also by striving to make history, with the Rwandan achieving excellence at the UCI Road World Championships. These final training sessions come just 4 days before the UCI Road World Championships officially begin in Kigali. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Moving ahead, the Rwanda Governance Board has reminded leaders of religious organizations to exercise caution and verify the sources of gifts and financial support they receive from various groups in order to avoid involvement in financial crimes or the misuse of funds. This reminder was delivered during a consultative meeting between the Rwanda Governance Board and representatives of faith-based organizations. During the discussions, faith-based leaders were briefed on Rwanda's national policies for combating money laundering and the financing of terrorism. Religious leaders emphasized the importance of such dialogues, and they said that exchanging views on these legal frameworks provides an opportunity to strengthen ethical practices and prevent wrongdoing in their daily operations.
So important and of a great value because, we learned a bit about the money laundering, how to avoid this, and it's a big issue, yes, in the whole world, and we are also concerned. Our people really need to be informed on how to avoid this, because the use of money really requires a lot of attention, precautions, and regulations. So we think we have really been informed, and this is really a way of avoiding some of the risks. What I'm taking home is to keep up these good practices, to have financial managers who are well-trained, well-informed, and to train them regularly, continuously, because when they are not trained on these kind of issues, sometimes after 1 year, after 2 years, they might forget these good practices. So we have learned a lot, and we are ready to really implement on a daily basis.
Sport Chief Executive Officer Dr. Doris Witeza-Picard urged religious leaders to remain vigilant and ensure they know the origin of all donations and financial contributions, noting that this will protect them from potential legal violations.
This national risk assessment was about just assessing the level of risk. It's not about individual cases. So if you look at faith-based organizations, they are more at risk because of the transaction. The financial transactions are cash-based, and they also receive donations from outside of the country. This places them more at risk for money laundering and financing of terrorism. It's not about particular cases. It's about putting in place these control mechanisms and making religious leaders aware of these risks so they can strengthen or even put in place these control mechanisms. We advise FBOs to strengthen the mechanisms that are existing, the financial control mechanisms, the accountability mechanisms, and to regularly attend these training sessions, because we'll continue to have them. The Financial Intelligence Center and the Rwanda Governance Boards, we are all at their disposal to equip them, to better equip them with tools to be able to address these risks. And so we advise them to always take a risk-based approach on their financial transactions, transparency, accountability, and to follow the laws and the regulations and the policies.
The Rwanda Governance Board pledged to continue awareness campaigns across the country, aiming to protect members of faith-based organizations from becoming involved in financial crimes and the misuse of resources. Tomorrow news, the ministry in charge of emergency management, in partnership with the World Division, Caritas Rwanda and Rodi, has launched the Dukwere Twigire project to support refugees and their host communities in overcoming various challenges. We have details.
This project, that will be funded by the European Union, will last for 3 years and will support 2,133 households in 4 refugee camps: Kiziba in Karungi, Kigeme in Nyamagabe, Mugumbwa in Gisagara, and Nyabiheke in Gatsibo. Beneficiaries of this project emphasize that it comes at a much-needed time, as they expect a lot from it.
Tugeze ku rwego impunzi zitakibona amafaranga.
We have reached a point where refugees no longer receive enough money, yet they make up the largest share. So this project comes to support us, considering that poverty and the little money provided is not sufficient, where one person receives 5,600 Rwandan francs, while another category receives 2,800 Rwandan francs to cover an entire month, and while others receive nothing at all. This project will support those in the campus through various activities, as explained by its coordinator, Mubangizi Fred.
Harimo kubakira ubushobozi mu bikorwa bijyanye no gucunga imari.
Among the key planned activities are building their capacity in financial management, providing them with adequate training on self-development, how to run businesses, and how to manage finances. After sufficient training, each household will then be given startup capital to implement the projects they have been trained and prepared to carry out. The project comes at a time when some organizations supporting refugees have reduced aid, prompting them to think of sustainable solutions, together with the Rwandan communities living around the campus. The Minister in charge of Emergency Management, Major General retired Albert Murasira, pointed out that this mode of collaboration between refugees and host communities is yielding promising results.
To graduate 2,133 households, comprising 70% of refugees and 30% of host communities, aligns with the aforementioned graduation strategy. And it is a demonstration of shared commitment and collaboration of the government of Rwanda and its partners to ensure socio-economic inclusion of refugees hosted in Rwanda. I call upon development and humanitarian partners to invest more in similar projects to support the government achieve the set target by 2030.
It is expected that 30% of the project's budget will be allocated to host communities living around these camps.
Moving ahead, traders and owners of trucks involved in cross-border business between Rubavu and Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo say that the Dubai Port World Rubavu Logistics Hub, which has begun operations, will solve the problem of insufficient storage for goods, and the new facility offers more than 10 times the total storage space previously available in Rubavu district. Let's take a look at the details. The facility, located near the Petite Barrière border crossing, was completed after 6 months of construction. Built on over 5,000 square meters, the hub initially offers storage for 50,000 tons of goods annually, with plans to expand that capacity to 150,000 tons in the coming years. Local traders and transport operators described the timing as critical, noting that the new port will significantly improve efficiency as it will address serious challenges that had been affecting their operations. We once spent a week and a half with our trucks parked here, with no place to offload the goods. During all that time, we still needed to earn some income to stay afloat. One of the key benefits we expect from this port is that it will provide proper storage for goods. This logistics hub, which offers more than 10 times the previous storage capacity in Rubavu, will also feature cold storage rooms and spacious offices for staff. The management of Dubai Port World describes this port as a major opportunity expected to boost the country's gross domestic product. Mark Raylands, the Chief Operating Officer Logistics Sub-Saharan Africa Dubai Port World, stated that their goal is to transform Rwanda into a regional hub for inbound and outbound goods storage.
Within 6 years, in collaboration with our partners and governments, it is a wonderful facility today that enhances the Rwandan communities and the Rwandan countries. And it really is a testament to the partnerships and vision that this country has. It is the first inland port of its kind in East Africa. It has significantly improved trade efficiencies and positioned Rwanda as a regional logistics hub. Today, as we launch the operational go-live of the Rubavu Logistics Hub, we are deepening Rwanda's connection to the Democratic Republic of Congo, unlocking a vital trade corridor in the Great Lake regions.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry says that the partnership with Dubai Port World is a significant opportunity, as the facility will connect local traders with international markets and help small-scale traders to grow. According to Doreen Ntawebasa, the Director General in charge of Trade and Investment at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, this collaboration is expected to create major economic benefits.
We encourage the people of Ruwafu, Rwandan traders, foreigners, and the surroundings district to fully embrace the utilization of this facility. It is here to serve your businesses and create opportunity for entrepreneurs and growth. Whether you are a cooperative, a small trader, a logistic operator, or a regional exporter, this hub is here for you and to serve you. The government of Rwanda remains fully committed to the development of the world-class logistic infrastructures that support both national transformation and regional integration. We will continue to work hand in hand with our development partners and the private sector to ensure that our logistic system remains competitive and inclusive and future ready.
The Rubavu branch of Dubai Port World's inland port was completed at a cost of $1 million. Since 2016, Dubai Port World has invested $40 million in goods storage facilities in Rwanda. To more news, the National Industrial Research and Development Agency, in partnership with the Rwanda World Value Chain Association and supported by the German International Cooperation Agency for Development, GIZ, has committed to maximizing the potential of wood products at a high level of value addition. Strategies to enhance wood processing were discussed during a meeting of stakeholders in the sector. Participants explored modern approaches to processing wood products they also agreed that wood processing should not harm the environment or biodiversity. Processing techniques should utilize all parts of the tree, from leaves to any residual components. Additionally, they recommended planting trees wherever possible to ensure adequate supply for the industry. Haji Abdul Rahman Karemera, director of the Rwanda Wood Value Chain Association, said the forum helps transform prevailing mindsets around wood processing and align practices with government policies promoting the wood industry. He added that some association members have received support in the form of training and wood processing machinery through collaboration between NIRDA, GIZ, and the Africa Industrialization Fund. Dr. Christian Sekomo, Director General of the NIRDA, emphasized the importance of promoting wood-based industries and highlighted the role of partners like GIZ and other stakeholders in supporting the sector. Several associations that demonstrated excellence in wood value addition were awarded prizes ranging from 1 million to 2.5 million Rwandan francs. Statistics show that the wood sector in Rwanda generates nearly $80 million annually and provides employment to approximately 75,000 people. Moving ahead, Rwanda's Auditor General Alex Kamuhire has urged internal auditors from various institutions to step up efforts to enhance their knowledge and skills in order to improve the performance. He emphasized that strengthening their expertise will help reduce the errors that are often found in the management of public finances and assets. Rwanda continues to invest heavily in public finance auditing, publishing annual reports that detail how the country's resources have been managed. And Laurenciana Bule, an auditor from Mozambique, commended Rwanda's efforts, calling them an example that other African nations should follow.
This kind of event are a great value for who wants to improve or consolidate the knowledge of internal auditors. In Mozambique, especially in the Assembly of the Republic, this unit of internal auditors are very young. It was created in last May this year. And this event will contribute for us to understand the good practice of this activity. Will help us to have a best forms of practice the activity to make this activity in of the everything that the law establishes.
However, experts note that the performance and professionalism of internal auditors are still hampered by a lack of sufficient knowledge aligned with international standards and requirements. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, which oversees internal auditors, has stated that those willing to pursue further education will receive support, with particular emphasis placed on training that meets labour market demands in this field. Currently, only 8 internal auditors in Rwanda hold the internationally recognized certification required for the profession. The Rwanda Association of Internal Auditors counts about 300 members, most of whom work in government institutions, and in the private sector, the practice of employing internal auditors has yet to gain widespread acceptance. Auditors from Rwanda, Mozambique, Gambia, and Sierra Leone met in Rusizi district for their annual conference to discuss the future of the profession. We'll now take a short commercial break and come back to see what is happening on the international page.
Every journey has a beginning. From nature comes refreshing fruity goodness that keeps you going every day. With every pack complementing life's best moments. Not one, not 2, but 5 different fruity flavors. And this journey keeps giving. Introducing Inyandi's new fruity juice flavors, guava and cocktail. Now available at your nearest shop. Always ask for Inyandi.
Nyiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo wagira umukamo mwinshi utunze inka imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi hari abamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njya muri kaminuza hari abanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko nashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashije, ariko byaragiye nanditse amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abankomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye ziba impamo. Bigereho.
You're still watching RTV News Now to Matters making headlines globally. Donald Trump is on an unprecedented second visit to the UK. He was welcomed with various preparations, but behind the official visit of the President of the United States, there is a strategic political move. Al Jazeera has the details.
How do you curry favour with arguably the most powerful man in the world? Give him an experience that money can't buy. As President Trump arrives at Windsor Castle, the British royal family are being rolled out as diplomats, with a warm welcome from King Charles and Queen Camilla, a ceremonial salute and carriage procession through the grounds of Windsor Castle. And knowing how much Trump loves superlatives, the largest military welcome for any state visitor in British history.
President Trump adores royalty, and this historic charm offensive has been carefully choreographed to flatter him. With the castle setting, carriages and state banquet, the UK government then hopes to convert Trump's appreciation into practical outcomes for Britain's security and economy at meetings on Thursday.
President Trump brings with him tech titans who've promised to invest $42 billion in the UK economy. And he's hinted that a better deal on trade tariffs might be on the table. This visit has taken months of meticulous planning, and authorities are determined to shield President Trump from any protest. He'll remain behind the castle walls with no contact with the public. Though on Tuesday night, protesters projected images of Trump and former friend, convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein onto those walls and were swiftly arrested. There is no room for error on Trump's day with the royal family, despite 61% of the British public disliking him, and many believing he is encouraging the rise in far-right support in the UK. Wednesday's VIP treatment will not touch on that, but hopefully cement the special relationship between Britain and the US. Charlie Angela, Al Jazeera, Windsor.
Now, online motorcycle taxi and delivery drivers have protested outside Indonesia's parliament in Jakarta for greater job protection. They say they are working long hours for little pay with no job security. It's the first major demonstration since President Prabowo Subianto reshuffled the cabinet to end days-long anti-government protest. Al Jazeera once more.
I'm in central Jakarta, just outside the parliament here, where a group of online motorbike taxi and delivery riders have gathered to protest, calling for greater protection of their labor rights. I'll just read out some of their demands. They're calling for more regulation of online transportation platforms, fairer distribution of earnings, greater protection against exploitation. One of the specific aims that they're calling for is a reduction in the amount of commission that is taken from their earnings by the applications which they are working for. Now, to set some context here, there are more than 4 million online motorbike taxi and delivery riders around Indonesia, and in fact more than 50% of the working age population, millions of Indonesians, are classified as informal workers. That means that they work for mostly low-paid jobs without any sort of job security or even benefits like health insurance, and many of them earn below the minimum wage.
Sometimes I get 4 orders a day. The maximum I can get is 8. What I earn on a daily basis isn't sufficient for my family because of the deductions.
There have been regular protests outside the parliament here against what people see as economic inequality. Now, some of the people demonstrating here have told us that the fact that there are so many informal workers, the fact that there has been a surge in people becoming these online motorbike taxi and delivery drivers means that there's increased competition. It's even harder for them to earn a living. Many of them saying that they earn less than $10 a day, some of them even less than $5. Now, in terms of how the government has responded to the demands of these protesters, they say that they have committed to a discussion around some of the demands and that it is evaluating some of the existing rules. Jessica Washington, Al Jazeera, Jakarta.
The story brings us to the end of tonight's bulletin, but before we leave, a reminder of the top stories that made this edition. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning and the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda have announced that the country's gross domestic product has increased, representing an economic growth of 7.8% in the second quarter. The Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority announced that electricity tariffs have been revised, with the new rates set to take effect starting October 1st. And on the international scene, we just seen the online motorcycle taxi and delivery drivers have protested outside Indonesia's parliament in Jakarta for greater job protection. And that marks the end of this bulletin. Thank you for joining us on behalf of the entire news team. We wish you a wonderful night. See you next.
Abashuje bifuriza n'ikaze inshuti bakunze amakuru y'iteganyagihe mwategura n'ikigo cy'u Rwanda cy'ubumenyi bw'ikirere Meteo Rwanda. Tugiye kuri iteganyagihe ryo ku munsi w'ejo ku itariki ya 18 Nzeri uyu mwaka wa 2025. Turaza kuri amasaha mu gitondo turebe amasaha y'igicamunsi ndetse tuze gukomoza no ku minsi 5 iri imbere, ariko kadutangiye tureba uko ikirere kiriwe muri rusange.